Let's take another look at the series ID foreign key column that EF added to the comic books table. We can see here that the series ID column allows null values. For our requirements, we want each comic book to be associated with a series, so we need to tell EF to make this column not allow null values. To accomplish this, we can explicitly add a foreign key property to the comic book entity class. Series ID. By following the naming convention of navigation property name plus principal primary key property name, EF will detect and interpret this property as a foreign key property. Furthermore, because we're using a non-nullable data type, the foreign key table column will not allow nulls. If we had a reason to not follow EF standard conventions, we can name the foreign key property whatever we like and use the foreign key attribute to associate our foreign key property with our navigation property. Let's change the foreign key property name and add the foreign key attribute to the series navigation property. Foreign key, then add the using directive for the system component model data annotations schema namespace and pass in the name of the foreign key property, series ref ID. Whenever possible, try to follow EF's conventions. Doing so will make your code cleaner and easier to follow. That being said, if you're working with an existing database, you'll likely need to stick with the column naming convention that has already been established in the database. When explicitly defining a foreign key property, I like to place it amongst my other properties in the order that makes the most sense, and place the navigation property just below my other properties. I find that organizing my entity class code this way helps me to quickly identify the navigation properties. Another advantage of having an explicit foreign key property on our entity is that we can now associate a comic book with a series by just setting the series ID property value. We'll see an example of this later in this course. Let's run our app one more time and verify that the comic book's series ID column is added and configured correctly. And here's our new series ID column, which no longer allows null values.